Hi Earthlings. Okie dokie. Now, there's a lot going on and a lot of people are saying a lot of things. Okay, so there's a lot of stories going on out there, and I want to clarify from my own personal experience plus observation plus study. And I've got a few things that I'd like to say. Okie doke. So, my personal theories. 1. As an earthling living on the portrayed upside down part of the globe, I can confirm that our realm is not a ball. It's sea level. We live in a water realm with some earth on it. Predominantly, 71% of our realm is seawater. It's all just different atmospheres of water. We have the seawater, which has the different density, and then we live in the air. But guess what the air is? H2O. It's got water in it. That's where the rain comes down from, the upper atmosphere, the clouds, water, water, water. Not only, the earth parts have hills and valleys for water. The mountains have springs with water. And even when we have rainfall creating depressions, all water flows to the lowest level, which is sea level. Even when we dig a hole, we come to the water table. And even under the earth, we have cave systems, which have the underwater streams. Okay, so that's the first thing I'd like to pass on. Now, the second one is a theory that the RH bloodline happened when the gene splicing Garden of Eden was creating things like the mermaids and so forth. But first of all, before they created these other female creatures, as in mermaids, they spliced the DNA of Adam into the feminine or the female Eve. So RH negative is something that happened in the splicing. Now, I've just heard so many stories, and I've just I'm like, come on. Now, these stories, which I call make-believe. Now, this is from the Bible, and I want everyone to know that Yahweh is a fire-breathing dragon. So Yahweh was known as El Shaddai, the executor of vengeance, who pours forth smoke from his nostrils and fire from his mouth. In 2 Samuel verse 22, it says, I cried out to my God. He heard my voice from his temple, and my cry entered his ears. And then in verse 8, it says, then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations of heaven quaked and were shaken because he was angry. Smoke went up from his nostrils, a devouring fire from his mouth. We find in Exodus 19, verse 18, and Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because Yahweh descended upon it in fire, and the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. That's why everyone was afraid. They're like, go up your mountain, Moses. We don't want to be a part of your God. In Leviticus 9:24, and fire came out from before Yahweh, and consumed the burnt offering and the fat on the altar. Leviticus 10:1. And Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took each of them a censer and put fire therein, and put the incense thereon, and offered it before Yahweh, when he had commanded them not. And there went out a fire from Yahweh, and devoured them, and they died before Yahweh. Okay. Now moving on to Baphomet. So we first hear of Baphomet back in the time of the Templars. So I might just pop to that part first. The first writings was in July 1098 in the siege of Antioch by the first Crusaders. It is written, "As the next day dawned, the inhabitants of Antioch called upon Baphomet, and we prayed and silently in our hearts to God, and then we attacked the city and forced all of them outside the city walls." Now back in those times, Baphomet was the name used for the followers of Muhammad. Baphomet is like Mahomet. Okay. By 1307, the Knights Templar were accused of worshipping Baphomet and of homosexual relations. Then, this guy, Aleister Crowley, who died in 1947 and made up the religion of Thelema, which is do what you want, do as you will. He created the image of Baphomet. Baphomet has a goat's head and horns, a woman's breasts, a man's penis, goat's legs and feet, and arms. Now, Aleister Crowley, as we know, was sort of like a dark magic kind of guy. He liked doing dark spells and things like that. He wasn't a goodie. He was a promoter of what is turned into Satanism, which again is another make-believe thing that everyone's got onto, and they're using the Baphomet image that Aleister Crowley created. So the guy only died in 1947, so that image hasn't been around for a while. And if you go back to the original source of Baphomet, it comes from the Templars, and it was the followers of Muhammad, which they called Mahomet. That's how you said his name in that time. So Mahomet, Baphomet. They put a play on the word, but it doesn't mean, well, I guess they were saying that the religion of Muhammad was the bad religion. Hey, I believe all the religions that come from the Abrahamic line aren't good. All right, guys. Now, sorry. So, moving on. I have heard some crazy stuff. I've been on the internet. So, people think that they come from the Lyrian star seed or the Palladian star seeds, things like this. The answer is no, you don't. Okay, so I'm going to explain it as best I can. And like I said previously, this is my personal experience, study, and the experience first and then I study, okay guys, because I'm trying to put into words or find the reason, or not the reason, I'm trying to understand. Okay, so this is it. Star stuff. Now, our inner star child is alive in our heart, and I've described to you that our heart is like a scroll that can unravel. If you look down in some of my previous videos, I've put these things in the comment section which show you how the heart is the vortex, because what we call the pump, the way it's shaped and folds the heart, it actually works like a spinner. So it's a vortex. And when people say go into the vortex and all this sort of stuff, they're talking about going into your heart center. Now inside there is a little star. It's yours to look after. It is your conscience, and your spirit has a duty to do right by your conscience, and obviously your soul mission, part of your soul mission, is to help your star frequency come out, vibrate at its full potential. So, okay. Now, it's my firm belief that there is one mother for our inner star child, and that is Venus. Venus, she's very close and personal, and she does the 8-year cycle, which creates the pentagram. But, well, the star points create the pentagram, but the way her RX and everything goes, her retrograde, it actually forms a rose. Now, so when our mortal body dies and we come to our judgment, our heart is weighed against the feather of truth. And we always thought the scales were like this, but perhaps it's like this. Feather of truth in the heart. Okay. Now, if our heart, our conscience gets to live, well, if our conscience doesn't get to live, it gets eaten by Sobek, the crocodile. Okay? And then if our heart gets to live, it begins its journey in the cosmos. Now, that is the ascension. So our heart ascends, or our star, our inner star child ascends to the cosmos, the manifesting capacity that we have, our frequency and our vibration. And first of all, in our cosmos, we have star nurseries. They are called stellar nebulae. So you can look that up. And then on average, approximately 6 to 7 new stars form in the Milky Way every year. In the Andromeda galaxy, it's less than 1 star per year. However, in starburst galaxies, they can add hundreds of stars each year to our cosmos. Okay, so everybody's just up there. The stars that didn't get eaten. How would your star get eaten? This I do not know. But it's obviously something to do with your conscience. And it's about the truth. Being true to your conscience. Those that are not true to their conscience, I guess, your star gets eaten. Because remember Tantalus, in the last video I described Tantalus, and he's the next most important thing that's coming up in the year, 22nd of January, after the dragon year begins. The dragon, we're not following Yahweh, okay? Our dragon is called Dam. He's not fire-breathing and does not kill anyone. The Chinese dragon, Dam, was a friend to mankind. So there's a real big difference going on between the Israelite Yahweh. And I do remember one more thing about this Yahweh, and that was there was only ever three kings of the Israelites, of Jerusalem, of the united 13 tribes. Remembering that there is 13 tribes because the tribe of Joseph wasn't classed as a single tribe. It was split into two for some reason, the tribe of Manasseh, the tribe of Ephraim. So anyway, we had a unification, and Saul was the first king. After Saul, there was David. After David, there was Solomon. After Solomon, 10 tribes left, and a small portion, well, the Judeans, who become the Jews, and the tribe of Dan stayed, and the rest all moved out and went to Samaria, which is the Samaritans. So the 10 were over there, and then there's King Ahab, and King Ahab married Jezebel, which came from none of the tribes. She came from, I think it was Babylonia, but I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Anyway, I think it's Isaiah. The prophet at the time challenged the prophets of Jezebel, which she followed Baal, which was a very ancient lord of the Mesopotamians and the Phoenicians, I think, as well. I'm not sure about the Phoenicians. Sorry about this. But anyway, definitely the Mesopotamian people. So that's a Persian. So I think Babylonian. So keep going. The Baal and the prophet from Jerusalem, he mocked them. Was like, righto, let's go down and we'll see whose God's real, and call upon your God to make this altar catch on fire. And they did all this stuff and called and cut themselves and all this terrible stuff, and didn't work. And then he poured all this water over his altar and stuff, and then he called on Yahweh. Yahweh burnt the shit out of the altar and everything like that. And then Isaiah slaughtered all the prophets of Baal. A bit of a bloodbath went down that day. So that's another one of describing the dragon. So the dragon was still around at the time then. I'm not sure where it's gone now and what's actually happened in the story. But anyway, that is my update. So just sharing with you that a lot of people are telling some pretty wild things, programs, I don't know, what brainwashing. I'm not sure what's going on in so heaps of people, because they're looking for spirituality and they don't realize that your spirit is everlasting and it's all about your death. Going on these wild fantasies about that they're oh my goodness, I can't even say the word, something from like a lion planet star. You're not. And you didn't come from Pleiades either. All of us have one star mother, and that is Venus, okay? One star mother, and that is Venus. And It's not necessarily anything to do with mythology at all. You can look up and you can follow the course of Venus. You can map it. And I want you to consider the realm that we live on and pay attention to the stars. Get to know them. Look. Communicate with them. Make a point of it. Speak with the power of your words. And yeah, that's it for today. Okay, many blessings everyone. Ka kite.